Approximately every 10 minutes, a new person in this country is put on an organ and tissue donor waiting list. That's every 10 minutes, someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's brother or sister, or someone's baby becomes in need of a life-saving, life-sustaining organ transplant. In 2014, 29,592 individuals received life-saving organ donations, and that's an amazing number, but not when you compare it to the 121,000 people who were left waiting on an organ donor list last year. An even more staggering statistic is that last year, 22 people on average died each day while waiting on organ transplants. There is such a national need for organ donors that President Barack Obama has declared April National Donate Life Month in hopes of increasing organ, eye, and tissue donations. The purpose of our campaign is simple: to save lives by increasing the number of registered organ and tissue donors. The focus of our campaign is to try to eliminate years of potential negative stigma and ideologies that have been associated with organ and tissue donation. We've chose to, instead of trying to combat this head-on, to look at it from a proactive perspective versus a reactive perspective by educating future generations on the benefits of becoming an organ and tissue donor versus trying to change the minds of people who are already old enough to register to be a donor. Our original target audience were individuals 18 to 34 years old who had state-issued identification cards or driver's licenses in Ohio. We could see early on that there was a huge potential for problems here. Number one, there are already great organizations within the state of Ohio who are actively promoting organ and tissue donation to this age group. Donate Life Ohio and Lifeline of Ohio, for example, have already been well established in this state, not only on a state level, but with individual organizations, hospitals, schools. So we knew we needed to look at this from a different angle. Dr. Cohen, early on in our proposal, gave us some really sound advice. Be unique, be original. So that's what we chose to do. So we chose our target audience instead to be individuals in school age, ages 5 through adulthood, who one day could have the potential to become registered organ and tissue donors in their state. Our argument is, by using a reactive approach, such as early childhood education, intervention, rather than a reactive approach, we will have a greater impact on long-term donor numbers. In theory, if we could provide early education regarding the potential life-saving implications of donor registration, there will be an increase in individuals who register as organ and tissue donors first time as soon as they're old enough to. Our behavior objective, to ultimately increase the number of registered organ and tissue donors in the state of Ohio. Obviously, because we're looking at this from an early education perspective on through adulthood, the success of this campaign cannot be looked at on a short-term basis. The grant writing, organization, implementation, and evaluation process can take many years to see an impactful difference. So, for this reason, we've chose to measure the successfulness of our behavior objective by first looking at the number of organ and tissue donors that have registered, or number of individuals who have registered to become organ and tissue donors through the BMV right now at the implementation of our proposal, the implementation of our campaign, then waiting 10 years through active implementation and active campaigning for our proposal in school systems, and then doing another count in 10 years. And we project that we will see a 25% increase in donor registrations in that 10-year span because of our early education and early promotion of organ and tissue donation. Our marketing strategy. The product itself will be education material that will be given in multiple formats. First, we plan to give large group presentations in hopes of exciting, engaging, and focusing our young children on the benefits of organ and tissue donation. We believe that if our children understand the importance of registering as an organ and tissue donor, that once they are old enough, then the product will ultimately spread by itself through word of mouth, through registers themselves. And ideally, once the engagement has been achieved, more individualized classroom activities can also be passed out to teachers, to students, and the teachers can even teach them on a one-on-one basis in their classrooms. We will be suggesting health classes, social service classes, things like that, as great learning places to promote organ and tissue donation. If the teachers are interested and willing, we will have additional material for that available as well. From the perspective of paying for our educational material, we have looked at initial costs of our material that we will use in our promotions and handouts and things. And a local company here in Columbus, Ohio, has quoted us roughly $7,500. That's a pretty staggering number. But luckily for us, we have some very seasoned grant writers who have volunteered to work on our grants pro bono to try to alleviate as much of that cost as possible, potentially even all of it. And again, even that grant writing cost, we're saving money by having volunteers work, because we looked at local grant firms in the state of Ohio, and we were quoted from $2,000 as much as $3,500 on. So we're potentially eliminating $10,000+ just by using the help of seasoned volunteers. From a financial perspective of registering as an organ and tissue donor, there's absolutely no monetary cost. In fact, through the entire organ procurement process, organ donors and their families can rest assured that all costs associated with the donation will be taken care of by the hospital or a donation society. Place. Initially, we see this coming to a place where children learn most often, and that is in the schools. Much like what people our age saw when we were children, like DARE and Smokey the Bear, coming in and promoting their awareness programs on a large scale, such as an auditorium or gymnasium. That is what our hopes will be as well. But our ultimate hope is to have this come down to a more micro level, such as individualized classrooms or students on an individual basis, ultimately keeping their focus and excitement honed in on organ and tissue donation. The promotion. The message that our entire campaign is trying to promote is a simple one. Organ and tissue donation saves lives. And amazingly, just one registered organ and tissue donor has potential to save up to 8 lives and positively impact as many as 50 lives. And the last message that we want our campaign to promote is just how easy it is to become an organ and tissue donor once they're old enough. It's as simple as checking a little box when they fill out their application, or it's as simple as going online and completing an online registry. We believe that in order to promote the importance of organ and tissue donation registration, our message needs to resonate from all angles by individuals who have experienced them firsthand. So we have chose, and we have had individuals graciously accept to become volunteers for our campaign that have lived organ and tissue donation firsthand. For example, we have 2 individuals, one an uncle who received an organ donation for a life-saving kidney transplant from his niece, who both of which have volunteered to speak on our behalf at some of these campaigns, some of these school proposals. Secondly, we have a child, 8 years old, who received a life-saving heart transplant. He was born with rare cardiomyopathy, which caused him extreme shortness of breath, fatigue, chest pains. He wasn't going to live a long life, but because of a life-saving organ donor, he has a new chance at life and is expected to live a long and normal one. He and his parents have both been more than eager to join our cause and help promote us by speaking in classrooms about the benefits of organ and tissue donation. In closing, I work as a respiratory therapist on the transplant floor of the Ross Hart Hospital at The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center. I have seen firsthand how important it is that we have organ donors in this country. I have seen people with no hope walk in on their last breath and then walk out a month later a changed individual. I have seen firsthand the impact and the need for organ donors in this country, and I have seen the satisfaction on individuals' faces knowing that a piece of their family lives on and that their family could make an impact positively on our society, even beyond the grave. So that's why this is so near and dear to my heart, because I live it and I work it every day. And I'm open to any positive and negative feedback because I want to make this campaign as successful as possible. Thank you.